Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 is available now for MetaQuest headsets. Developed by Survios, the game is billed as a first-person horror game, but on the MetaQuest headsets that's not really how it plays out. While it is a first-person game and there are Xenomorphs running around the area for you to be scared of, the game suffers from not having true blacks on the MetaQuest 3 headset, and as such, all of the environments very early on are very brightly lit, so it's really hard to be scared. You're going to see the Xenomorphs from a long way away and be able to arm yourself with either your pulse rifle or your handgun to take them out before they're any real threat. The Xenomorphs are not as scary when you can see them coming. This really dampens the experience of the horror aspect of the Alien games, and while it is still an enjoyable first-person exploration game, there's something to be said about being scared in VR. Throughout the game, the player is equipped with a flashlight strapped to the side of their head, but honestly, I don't think I ever actually turned this on until the later part of the game. All of the environments have a sort of blue hue which was absent on other editions such as PlayStation VR 2 and PC, and that's because of the way that the Quest 3 projects its blacks on its screen. Now, as I say, Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 is still a fun experience on the Quest headsets, but if you loved it on other platforms, maybe you'll see that this is actually the inferior version. And of course, that's because it doesn't have the amount of horsepower, the amount of processing power behind it that the PlayStation 5 and the PC can give you. The story of Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 sees you crash land on a planet that is infested with Xenomorphs. It's not exactly any groundbreaking material for the Alien franchise, but it is an enjoyable experience nonetheless. You'll be searching around the planet looking for a way to repair your ship to get off the planet. And you'll come across many different environments along the way. Most of them, however, are interior environments. When you do go outside, it's very limited in scope and very limited in draw distance on the Quest headsets. The interior design is very familiar to any Alien fan. It's all got the 80s sci-fi aesthetic that we're very used to for the franchise, and it does a good job at replicating the earlier films in VR. However, the experience isn't like the Alien Isolation VR experience that we all wanted back in the early days of VR. This isn't a case of there's a Xenomorph stalking you and you have to be stealthy to avoid contact because ultimately one encounter with a Xenomorph could be the end of you. This is more like a traditional first-person shooter experience. You'll see many Xenomorphs on your way across the planet, on your way through this adventure, and taking them out isn't particularly difficult. One of the best parts of Alien Rogue Incursion is the exploration. It's not a simple case of going from A to B. You'll have to solve some pretty small logistical puzzles, but also exploring every nook and cranny can reveal new parts of the story and new items for you to collect. It's got a bit of a Bioshock feel going on, where you can find audio logs and hidden items in boxes scattered around the environment. So taking your time to explore this world is actually quite interesting, and arguably a better aspect of the game than the combat with the titular aliens. As you're going through the experience, you have one point of communication, your AI companion, your android companion, Davis. And Davis is not the most interesting of characters. Storyline, as I say, isn't exactly breaking in new ground for the franchise. It is a means to have a game, rather than a game built to tell a story. As stated, Alien Rogue Incursion is actually Part 1. There is a Part 2 coming, which will hopefully evolve that storyline to become more rich and integrated in the Alien franchise that we know at large. As I stated previously, visually, Alien Rogue Incursion on MetaQuest 3 does not live up to its predecessors on PlayStation VR 2 and PC VR. There are some limitations in the MetaQuest 3 headset that do significantly impact the game. That being said, if you're new to Alien Rogue Incursion on a MetaQuest 3 headset, you'll probably find it still an enjoyable experience, maybe even enough for you to warrant investing in that Part 2 when it eventually arrives. Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 has launched on MetaQuest 3 as part of a slate of big names that have come to VR recently. We've had Batman Arkham Shadow, Metro Awakening, Skydancer's Behemoth, and now Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 takes place alongside those as one of the biggest names available for MetaQuest headsets right now. As it stands, it's an okay experience. It fits alongside those games, but doesn't necessarily break any new ground. It's a fun exploration game, but the combat leaves a lot to be desired. If you're into exploration games and puzzle solving and atmospheric experiences, then Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1 is a good time. But if you're looking for some kind of alien blasting or horror game, you're probably better looking elsewhere. Alien Rogue Incursion is available for MetaQuest free headsets now. It's priced at £30.99, or your local currency equivalent. That is pretty expensive for the experience that's on offer here. If you're a huge fan of the Alien franchise, then dive right in. Otherwise, there are better shooting and horror games available for MetaQuest headsets.